Hey, Gary here. Welcome to Book Mob episode 104. Now, tonight I'm going to be talking about, this episode is going to be about the book First Blood by David Morrell. Now, what I want to stress is that the book is completely, almost completely different from the movie First Blood starring Sylvester Stallone. The funny thing is, I've seen the film many times, even when it came out in 1983 or something. I was a young kid then, and I watched it and loved it. Great movie. And then they got Rambo 2 and all the spin-offs that have gone on ad infinitum. However, when you read First Blood, the book, the novel by David Morrell, you go, wonder why they didn't make the movie like the book, because the book is absolutely fascinating. It's a tragedy. It's a Shakespearean tragedy. It is, I would say, completely different in scope, in outcome, in the landscape of the Rambo films. I mean, I just can't believe that the whole idea when you read, in this edition, you read David Morrell's introduction, he goes into some of the aspects of the book, and I guess he understands that the film has been made and that that people will always associate First Blood as a movie, as a Sylvester Stallone franchise. I don't think, obviously, when he wrote the book, I don't think he expected it to become this Hollywood summer blockbuster phenomenon. Now, listen to the sentence. He said, when he was considering writing this book, he said, "What if I wrote a book in which the Vietnam War literally came home to America?" Now, in the film First Blood, there is that the film is made, Rambo is sort of in this town, is treated like a piece of shit. And sort of the war comes home to the Vietnam War through Rambo comes home to small town America. However, when you read this book, Jesus Christ, I mean, this book is so good because you've just got this incessant violence. There's the sheriff and Rambo at loggerheads. He kills a lot of police officers. He kills a lot of people. He kills dogs. I mean, it's just mayhem. But it's written in such a way. I mean, it intensifies how the war in the novel was brought home to America. The guy, Rambo, is the character, is a young man who grows up in a dysfunctional family. He's only been in the military, I think, 4 years. He becomes a Green Beret. And he then, gets captured by the Viet Cong, and he wins the Congressional Medal of Honor. One of my favorite lines in the film is when Colonel Traubman says, "John J. Rambo, winner of Congressional Medal of Honor, killed in Jerkwater, USA." Love that line. And it's not in the book. The book, in fact, I think it's not a colonel, it's a captain. And what else did he say? Morrell says, "It was time to write a novel that dramatized the philosophical division in our society." Between in the 60s and 70s, you had all these disaffected young people, hippies, groupies, the Woodstock era. And then at the same time, you had a whole lot of young people who were drafted. And also there was regular army who went to fight in Vietnam, this, ridiculous political war. However, it divided society in such a way that you even had like the Home Guard at Kent State University killing students. And so a lot of young men came back from Vietnam worse off, post-traumatic stress. Also, but coming into a culture that completely forgot about them. Like their parents, the fathers of many of these young men fought in the Second World War and were treated as heroes. And then someone like John J. Rambo comes home, and in the whole book is that he comes into town And in a sense, John J. Rambo has turned into a hippie because Morrell goes into a sort of distinct pattern. He's got long hair, he's dirty, he smells, he's drifting, so that even though he's won the Medal of Honor, no one knows, no one cares, and he gets into this town, and the sheriff just wants Rambo out of town because he's a drifter, he's a troublemaker, and that's where the crux of the story is. These two men facing off against each other through battle, through combat, through hell. And the book just keeps giving. It's such a good book, and it's such a great read. I mean, you're just sort of entrapped in the story, and I highly recommend it. I mean, this is one of my... and I never read this novel before. It's one of the great novels of 2026 for me, as in reading, not as in when it was published. So here's something else that Morrell said about Rambo, the character. He would let his hair grow long, stop shaving, carry his few possessions in a rolled-up sleeping bag slung over his shoulder, and look like what we then called a hippie. So this Medal of Honor winner who's come home dejected, disenfranchised, lost, and he just wanders. There's no point in the book. It's in the film, Rambo's coming home looking for friends from his unit, but there's no one else in the book. It's Rambo, and that's it. There's no one else. He's just lost, and you kind of know where it's going. Also, by the way, Rambo, the name, apparently according to Morrell, came from an apple, a type of apple. And in the book, Morrell talks a lot about the polarity between the police chief and Rambo. And he says, to emphasize their polarity, I structured the novel so that a scene from Rambo's perspective will be followed by one from Teasel's, the sheriff. The subsequent scene from Rambo, the next scene again from Teasel's. And that does happen, and it's great actually, because the tension builds, because you can see the story from one side and then the perspective from the other, and it makes it such an invigorating, bloody well-written, addictive story that just keeps giving. And I must admit, I think anyone can read this book, and you divorce yourself from the film. It's a pity that the film, I guess the film, they must have known, we can make this a franchise, and we can make 3 films, 4 films, 5 films, whatever, how many long. But First Blood is unique in its own place. As a novel, it's great. I mean, the film is good. I love the film First Blood. But again, it is so... it's not this book. This book is fantastic, easy to read, a powerful read, just a great story, and I highly, highly, highly recommend you get hold of First Blood by David Morrell, the novel. Awesome. All right, what have I done? I've read James Herbert, The Survivor, and I'm currently reading Joe Nesbo's Detective Hole, The Devil Star, and I'm going to read, this is his first Detective Hole novel, and I've just ordered Cockroach, which is novel number 2, and I'm trying to work through maybe reading all of them this year. But anyway, that's it. So thanks for tuning in, and remember, First Blood by David Morrell, fabulous, fantastic novel, well worth reading. I had to order mine from Amazon because I couldn't find it in any bookstores in Sydney. But anyway, regardless, it's such a powerful, fantastic, brilliant story, and it will keep you engaged all the way through. Brilliant. Okay, I'll see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.